Hi, my name is Chuck Simons and I'm the inventor of the Groomers Helper. Today we're going to give you a little instructional video on how to use it. The first thing I want you to learn is how to put your loop on your dog. The traditional way is to take your hand and put it over the dog's muzzle. If he's a biter, there's another way of doing it. You want to go ahead and take your quick disconnect, open it up, face him the other way, and sling it over the dog's head from behind him. Now that you have the loop on the dog, we want to be able to get the Groomers Helper on the arm. So this should have been done beforehand, but I'm showing you. You put the Groomers Helper on the arm and screw it down. You don't need to tighten it very hard, just as long as it will not slip up and down. So just a little bit of tightness onto the Groomers Helper. Now pull the tether out on the Groomers Helper and you can attach it to the bottom of the loop, which is now on the back of the dog. Spin it around, lock it to the back of his neck, hook him up to the arm, and you now can pull your dog into the grooming arm with the Groomers Helper. He's now in a cross tie between the top of the loop and the side of the arm. Your dog effectively can't back off the table, jump off the table, fall off the table, or hang himself. You're grooming hands-free. One person can come around and do nails and he can't turn around and bite you. You've completely eliminated spinners. This is the first position for the Groomers Helper. A little bit underneath his muzzle. It doesn't need to be tight, just so he can hang out. The second position for the Groomers Helper is when you take the Groomers Helper and put it up underneath his muzzle. Pull it in a little bit. He now can't effectively drop his head. He's not being choked in any way. In fact, the Groomers Helper pulls the loop away from the trachea, so your trach dogs are safer. The third position for the Groomers Helper is over the dog's muzzle. We're going to go ahead and take out some of the tether and raise it over his head. And the tethers, if you'll notice, fall evenly on both sides of the dog's muzzle. Now remember, the dog can't get his head down because of the grooming loop. What you're going to do is take two fingers and press down. The harder you press down, the more it will close around the dog's muzzle. So give it a little tightness and then relax, and you'll usually get a handle on top of the dog's muzzle. Normally we hold the beard, we lighten up, the dog lightens up. We'll do the same thing with the muzzle. Lighten up and the dog will lighten up. That'll give you the ability to cut the beard evenly. Also, if your hand is here holding the beard and the dog goes to bite you, he's got you. If you're here, you have a chance to get away, and he's not going anywhere. We've just showed you how to muzzle a dog that has a muzzle by putting the Groomers Helper above his head. We're now going to show you how to secure the dog's head to the arm for those dogs that don't have a muzzle, such as a Shih Tzu or a Lhasa. Also, if you have a standard that you need to pluck his ears and he's not going for it, or if you have a 100-pound Rottie and you want to do his ears and do his nails and he's not going for it, I'm going to show you how to secure the dog's head to one side of the grooming arm, you being on the other side of the grooming arm, which will protect you. First thing that we want to do is understand that I can't put this dog's head on that side of the arm because the grooming noose is not long enough. So we're going to drop the grooming loose down, the grooming arm down, so we're able to have the dog's head on that side of the grooming arm. The arm should be between the eye and the ear. We're then going to take this piece of pipe insulation and put it over the bar. In case he does struggle, there's no way he can hurt himself. Now remember, I told you he's not being choked in any way, and this tether is not attached to him, but what we're able to do is bring it around the back of the grooming loop and lock his head to the arm, which gives us the ease in plucking and cleaning ears, dematting the muzzle on the dogs that don't have a muzzle like a Shih Tzu or a Lhasa, and doing the nails on the toughest of dogs. If you have two people, one person holds the arm and the tether, the other person goes ahead and cuts the nails on the toughest of dogs. With the advanced Groomers Helper set, you get two Groomers Helpers and two loops and an extra arm and clamp set. What that is for advanced positioning with the Groomers Helper. Sometimes we get elderly dogs who are deaf and blind and senile, and of course they're head bobblers, they're all over the place. When we want to go ahead and secure their heads from going up, down, left, or right, we can use the Groomers Helper Deluxe set to do that. Now, right now what we're going to do is bring this up by his muzzle, and then we can take this extra arm and clamp set right here and lift it up to the same height. Attach the second Groomers Helper, and he is what is in what we call a tri-tie. Here he is right here. He can't go left, right, backwards, or forwards. Our groomers love this position because not only does it calm the dog down, but effectively restrains him where he feels better. That blind dog is just looking for another piece of furniture to bump into so he can remember it. He now realizes he can't go left or right, backwards or forwards, and he calms down, and it's much easier to groom him. You can hold this dog in place with just 2 fingers on his beard. One of the advantages of the Deluxe Groomers Helper set is that you don't need to do top knots and beards in front of the grooming arm. With the second arm and clamp set, you're able to take the Groomers Helper, bring it to your right, and move the dog's head away from the grooming arm, effectively being able to do better top knots and beards because you don't have the big old clunky grooming arm in front of you. Hi, this is a demo on how to use the no-sit feature for your Groomers Helper. What we want to do is get Cheyenne on her regular grooming loop, and then we will hook Cheyenne up to the Groomers Helper up front. This is going to stabilize Cheyenne's head. Now Cheyenne's an older dog and she has a problem sitting. So what we want to do is stretch Cheyenne out so we can see where we're going to put the no-sit apparatus. We're going to take one clamp and put it just about under Cheyenne's belly right here. We're going to take another clamp and put it exactly opposite on the other side of the table. We're going to take our arms. The one with the hook will go on this side, and the one without the hook will go on this side, about the same height. Now what we're going to do is take one Groomers Helper, we get 2 in a deluxe set, and put it right at the top. We will then take our grooming loop and hook it up to the loop on the other, and then hook it up to the tether of the Groomers Helper. Now to protect Cheyenne from any of the equipment on the Groomers Helper from bothering her, we'll put a piece of pipe insulation which comes with your set on. Then we'll lift it up to where it's comfortable for Cheyenne on each side. Now this is just enough to support her back end so you can go ahead and do what you need and she's not sitting down all the time. Another method of this on a small to medium dog would be to open up the Groomers Helper, and then you can bring it over her back like so and clip it. This will also prevent Cheyenne from moving backwards and forwards. Okay, we're going to release it a little bit so I can get this belly strap underneath and protect her belly from the strap itself. Now it's totally around Cheyenne and she's hooked up between the 2. At any time, if you need to get the dog out of it, you can hit the quick release and drop the arm off, and there you go. For you mobile groomers who can't get behind your table, our groomers who are using the Deluxe Groomers Helper set are able to do one side of the dog here, and then they're able to go ahead and turn the dog around and do the other side of the dog here. So in effect, you have both sides of the dog and the dog is restrained on both sides of the table. Most groomers do not do cats, but for the groomers who do, we have a way of taking the cats that do tolerate restraints, and not all of them do, and make it easier for you to groom. When it comes to cats, you want to set yourself up for success rather than setting yourself up for failure. When you go to a cat and scruff him and hold him with all your might, he is going to go into fight or flight. What we want to do is put the cat in the position where he feels the most comfortable. Cat feels the most comfortable laying flat on the table with his paws over the edge. We never hang a cat in a loop. In fact, we never put the loop around his neck. What you want to do is take my cat tie out and put it in your extra clamp on the corner of the table. What you're going to do is make a platform to put Mr. Kitty in so he can't bite you and you don't have to scruff him at all times. We're going to take our grooming loop and lay it flat on the table, open the cam lock and open the quick release, and attach the Groomers Helper to it. First thing we're going to do is make friends with Mr. Kitty and cut his nails. Then what we want to do is lay him flat over the Groomers Helper so the Groomers Helper loop is underneath his arms and over his shoulder. One finger in front of the cam lock as you close it so it doesn't pull his hands into it. And then just tighten the Groomers Helper ever so slightly. He still has room up and down and left and right, so he doesn't feel like he's restrained. He's going to hang his hands over the edge of the table and feel more comfortable there. Now with one cat glove, or a welder's glove, or a fireplace glove, you can securely hold the cat from the back of his head and shave him down or brush him and demat him. But when you move away, he's not going to move away with you. It's like having an extra pair of hands that can't be bitten. Now you never want to put a cat on his back, but you certainly can lay him on his side and reattach it. That way one hand's holding him here. If you have a second groomer, they can pull the legs out and you can shave inside the cat's legs. We recommend that you take 3 wraps of masking tape around the back claws, because if they cannot extend their nails, they can't scratch you, and it's those back claws that will do the damage. If you need to get Mr. Kitty out, your quick release works very good. You can get the cat out that easy. Our groomers who do cats tell us they love this only because they don't have to scruff the cat at all times. When you do get that cat that is so crazy that nothing can handle him, well, that's the time to rethink whether we're going to groom him or not. The Groomers Helper really only has one moving part, and that's this little slide lock right here. When the slide lock is back toward the arm, the tether runs smooth and will go in or out. When you push the slide lock forward, it locks the Groomers Helper so the tether cannot be pulled backwards. You can pull it and relock it, but the dog can't pull it in the opposite direction. If you're in the shop, make sure that that slide lock is locked. If he goes to back up, it locks automatically. No more will you find the dog at the front door because in just a second he bit through the grooming loop. Operate your Groomers Helper the right way and it'll take good care of you. It's very important that you remember, never leave a dog in restraints unattended. If you have to go away for any length of time, take the dog out of the Groomers Helper, put him back in the kennel, or you might come back to find that he's chewed through your tether. One of the tips there is when you first have a new dog on your table, if he's a little apprehensive or a little aggressive, when you first bring him in, his natural instinct is to pull back and have a little tug of war. Allow him to do that before you lock the tether. He thinks he won the tug of war and all of a sudden you're playing with him. After the second or third win of the tug of war, he usually becomes your best waggy friend. Also, when you attach the Groomers Helper to the dog, I don't want you to pull him in with the rope like this. This will scare the pet. What you want to do is bring him in with your hand and take out the slack. We never want to use the Groomers Helper to scare the dog or manhandle him. Only use as much restraint that is needed to help you calm the dog. When the dog calms, you can relax the restraint. Also, only use as much restraint as needed to get the job done, either for cutting nails or for dematting beard or muzzling, whatever you're doing. Just use that amount of restraint, and then when you're done, relax the restraint so the dog is just hanging out.